Our first, by the way, Patrick, I'm just happy to have you on, man. I always love working with you, dude. You're a hilarious dude. So thank you for your time. And I really wanted to get you on for this story because I know it's near and dear to your heart. I know that you are a regular at Kino, and Steve Allen was a good friend of yours. He was a good friend to every comedian in this city. The greatest guy. Not once have I ever asked Steve Allen for a spot, and he hasn't responded with, "Do you want to go up tonight?" Not once. And that means a lot to me. And due to COVID restrictions, he had to shut down his bar. We're devastated as comedians, and we're also devastated to know Playland is opening next week. IKEA is still open, and small businesses like this get to be squashed on. How are you feeling about that, Patty?
Well, last statement first. How do I feel about the Kino shutting down? It's awful. It's horrible. For people who don't know, Kino Cafe is basically, it's the last bastion of, those small rooms where anybody could get on stage and do their thing. And a lot of people will say things like, yeah, what does it matter if this place is gone, if that place is gone? And to put things into perspective, if COVID restrictions were to be over tomorrow, like if they said everybody's back to everything, the city of Vancouver does not have a comedy club in it now. There are absolutely no venues for stand-up comedy in the city of Vancouver. None. They do not exist now.
No. And they were dying before COVID.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was difficult before. Exactly. Yeah, and Jeremy makes a very good point. They weren't doing well when things were going well. And now with COVID, Steve, he's got a cafe that has a stage that was open for anybody who wanted to perform. His attitude was, sometimes people, many comics would disagree with the people he would put on, not because the people he would put on were inappropriate or anything like that, but because people would be like, oh, this person stinks, this person isn't good, or this person sucks. Why don't you give it to somebody who's great? And Steve was one of the very first people who, in the business, had the attitude and the understanding that every great champion started off as a curious amateur. Right. And so he took the attitude that if you're going to go on stage and you're going to respect it and you're just going to try, you don't even have to improve. Just show that you care. He'll give you a spot. And he understood also that the Kino needed to be a place that was safe for people on and off stage. So before we had this whole safe space culture, this whole woke culture, the Kino Cafe was a place where you could feel safe. You could do new material without fear of failure, because Steve was like, well, there's no bombing, there's no failure. It's just so you learn what doesn't work. And that was his attitude. And Steve was
bombing. I'm sorry. I love Steve. There's bombing. There's eating shit directly into his mouth, and he just didn't want to tell people to discourage them. And that was the beauty of Steve.
I prefer Patrick's take. There's no bombing, Justin. There's just trying different things.
Well, no, but you know what, Jeremy?
We were there all together.
There's poo-poo in your mouth. There's poo-poo in your mouth sense.
Yeah, and Justin, I mean, I know it's your show, but we don't have to make it about you.
You know what, man? I did like 700 shows for you in my first summer of comedy, the People's Champ. You should be a little kinder. All unpaid.
I will say this. Justin Nickel, you are the man. I'm trying to think.
Are you having a stroke? Is Patty having a stroke? What's happening right now? Do you smell burnt toast?
I do. I don't. How's the left side of your arm doing? Is it okay, or is mine just?